Now, negative remainder drawback. Negative remainder drawback. Negative remainder drawback. What is the drawback of negative remainder? What is the drawback of negative remainder? Suppose if the question is remainder of 6 power 84 divided by 49. 6 power 84 divided by 49. If this question is there, the entire idea is to find which power of numerator, when I divide by denominator, I will get +1 or -1. Which power of numerator, when divided by denominator, I will get +1 or -1. So trying to find out which power of 6, when divided by 49 will give you +1 or -1. How to find out this value of x in fast? X value fast. Right, finding out which power of 6 when divided by 49 will give you +1 or -1. 6 square is 36. 6 cube is 216. So finding out which power of 6 when divided by 49, whether it is +1 or -1, is extremely difficult to us. That is the reason negative remainder. By using negative remainder, we might not get few problems direct answer first. That's exactly the reason we are going into Euler's theorem application. Please write down. Which power of 6 when divided by 49? Determining which power of 6 when divided by 49 is +1 or -1 is difficult. So how to find out the value of x? There is a famous mathematician who has given a theorem. That theorem is Euler's theorem. When this theorem is used, when the denominator is a composite number. When the denominator is a composite number, you can use this theorem. What does that theorem states? Theorem states a power quotient of n. I will explain this concept neatly. A power quotient of n divided by n is 1. A power quotient of n divided by n is 1, where a and n are co-prime to each other. What do you mean by co-prime to each other? HCF of numerator base to the denominator should be 1. What is phi of n? Phi of n is the quotient function of n. I will explain in detail what is the quotient function of n. First, write down this Euler's theorem. What is Euler's theorem? Euler's theorem is used when the denominator is a composite number. If the denominator is a composite number, you can use Euler's theorem. What does that theorem states? Theorem says that a power phi of n divided by n, it is 1. A power phi of n divided by n, it is 1. A and n should be co-prime to each other. And denominator is a composite number. Now, quotient function. What is this quotient function? Please write down side heading quotient function. Phi of n is nothing but the quotient function of n. Once we understand quotient function of n, then this process becomes very, very easy. Now let us define what is the quotient function of n. Phi of n. In some textbooks, they write it as a tau of n. Tau is a Greek alphabet. Tau stands for quotient function of n. These are nothing but number of natural numbers. Number of natural numbers less than or equivalent to n and coprime to n. Number of natural numbers less than or equivalent to n and coprime to n. We will see with an example. Quotient function of n is the number of natural numbers less than or equivalent to n and coprime to n. Number of natural numbers less than or equivalent to n and coprime to n. That is called the quotient function of n. Examples. 5 examples, it should be clear to you. 5 examples, it should be clear to you. Find the value of first question, quotient of 20. Find the value of quotient of 20. Listen carefully. Step number 1. Take the number 20. Write down it as power of prime bases, which is 2 square into 5 power 1. 2 square into 5 power 1. So write the number as a power of prime bases P1 power A into P2 power B into P3 power C. Right? So quotient of n. I will give a proof in the next slide. Please write down n into 1 minus 1 by P1, 1 minus 1 by P2, 1 minus 1 by P3. 1 minus 1 by P1, 1 by P2, 1 by P3. Please write down this. I will give a proof. I will give a proof for this in the next slide. Any composite number is there. Write it down as a power of composite prime numbers. P1 power A, P2 power B, P3 power C. Quotient of n is n into 1 minus 1 by P1, 1 minus 1 by P2, 1 minus 1 by P3. Just substitution we will do here. So this is nothing but 20 into 1 minus 1 by 2, 1 minus 1 by 5. So here it is 20 into 1 by 2 into 4 by 5. 10 2s are 20. So 2 4s are 8. Answer for the first question is 8. But the question is, sir, I cannot remember these notation. You don't need to remember these notation. There is a way in which directly you can write it. Quotient of n is n into 1 minus 1 by A, 1 minus 1 by 1 minus 1 by P1, 1 minus 1 by, sorry, it is A. 1 minus, sorry, it is P1 only. 1 minus 1 by P1, 1 minus 1 by P2, 1 minus 1 by 3. There is a confusion in previous textbooks. They will write it as ABC. So that's the reason. What are P1, P2 and P3? P1, P2 and P3 are prime numbers. P1, P2 and P3 are prime numbers. P1, P2 and P3 are prime numbers.